Loss can be a huge storm in our lives. It can come in many different forms. Loss of a parent, loss of a loved one, loss of a child, even loss of a body part. Loss can mean so many things. And how do we find strength through loss? How do we become whole again? This was a super important episode for me to do because loss affects all of us. So today I have the honor of talking to a very special woman. She's somebody I met years ago, back when I was living in South Texas. She has been through so much, but she's the epitome of strength to me, faith, and how you deal with things when you're going through a storm. She has shown grace and honor in everything that she's been through, and today it's a privilege to be here with her today. Gaby, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for approaching me. It's a blessing and my honor to do this. So thank you for that.
I know that you're getting ready to do so much today for a celebration of life for Zoe. So for you to take time at all, knowing that you have tons of details to take care of, I'm super thankful for that.
It's okay. Thank you so much for being here on such a special day. It is a very, very emotional weekend for our family, because tomorrow is the 3rd year anniversary of Zoe's passing. It's been the most challenging 3 years of our lives, and every September we always like to celebrate her the way that she was to us. She was the life of the party. She was 4 years old. She was full of life, laughter, silliness. So when we had a funeral, it was just the most depressing day of my life, and Kevin is my husband, and we decided to do something different, something that represents her personality, and that's how the celebration of her life took place. So now every September we have a little party. We call it a party, and we have friends, food, family, music, bubbles, balloons, and face painting, all the things that she loved. That's exactly what we have. Lollipops and just things that, I don't know, it makes us feel closer to her and somehow.
Well, you're taking the things that remind you of her, that made her happy, that made her smile, and you're celebrating that not only once a year, but you celebrate that all year round.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. But you said it in the beginning, loss affects the whole family. It is like being hit by a storm, and you are just picking up the pieces of your life, kind of like rebuilding every day what you had. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We are trying our best to take a deep breath and be graceful about this loss. It's the hardest time.
One thing that you've done that stood out to me is that you're open about it. You talk about it, you started a blog, you're letting everybody in to sort of share the good days, the hardest days, the bad days, and just showing people the realness of it, knowing that so that people would know maybe how to reach out to you or how they could help, and that's super powerful that you do that. How does that make you feel when you blog or write? Does that help?
Well, it is very healing. I believe that healing comes from different places, and my point was after I lost her, I knew I needed to do something to help myself, and talking about it, bringing her up in topics, or having other moms, connecting with other moms that are going through exactly the same loss, it just brought so much healing into my life. When you open that door, I believe that good things start coming, but you need to be open. And it is a very scary step, because when you open the door, you're admitting that you're part of the club. You are one of them. And it destroys you. It can destroy you, or it can just bring you back to life. It just depending how open you are to that. For me, it was I needed to be out there and to talk to people and tell them, you know what, it's sad. It's very, very sad. It is the greatest loss. I don't think there's anything greater than this, than bearing your own kid. But I think there's a choice. And that's when I hold on to my faith. I hold on to God, and I said, how do you want me to do this? Because I'm doing this for the rest of my life. And I just felt like she was, like God was like pretty obvious, like this is how you need to do it. Trust me. And so here I am.
That's it. You know, you say it so simply, like trust me, but lots of people can't do that. They can't get past the how come, but you're just taking one day at a time and knowing that whatever you need, you're just going to lean on God for strength to get you through that day or that minute or that hour that you can't.
Exactly.
Struggling.
It sounds very easy, and I just want to tell people, and I want to tell everybody, you know, healing grief is work. And just like you're training for a marathon, just like you're training for the CrossFit Games, or, you know, I like the fitness because fitness is like the most humbling thing, because you only get what you give. And it's exactly the same with grief. What you give is how much you're gonna heal. So it's work. So every day I get up with those words in my head. I'm like, I need to do the work. And it means prayer, and it might just mean like blog, using, you know, writing, going to work. I'm a preschool teacher, so I'm surrounded by 4-year-olds every day. And it was the hardest thing to do, going back to work, being in the eye of the storm, surrounded by those children that represent and resemble so much of my daughter.
Do you find strength in being surrounded by 4-year-olds?
I do. You know, it was one of those things that in counseling, I talked about it, and the doctor said, well, it's either gonna break you or it's gonna make you very strong. So we'll see. And I can tell you today that it's making me stronger, because I go to work every morning and I'm happy to be there. And I see the signs of Zoe in every single one of the kids. I really do. I see that she's using them to remind me that she's okay. So that's how I take it.
That must be, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what you go through, and then working with everybody that age, like 4-year-olds, and the amount of strength it takes and perseverance. And you have another daughter, your oldest daughter is Emma, and you know, just the example you're setting for her, what you're showing her of how you're living your life, not telling her this is what you should do, but you're showing her is you're going to go through struggles in life, and this is how you can face them head on, and with prayer and trust in God, and you can have joy and find joy in it.
It's like I call it like chasing joy. You know, I have to chase joy, because joy doesn't come to me like in the form of other people. Like it is work to find those moments for a family like us, because you live in between. You know, there's something that I tell very loud and clear. It's like when you lose your child, there's a space that opens where you standing still, and you can't move. I'm stuck in those 4 years, and everything is passing by in front of me, but I'm still there, you know, and I'm okay with that. I'm learning how to be okay with that. I'm standing still here. You know, my daughter's not going to college. I'm not going to see her get married. That's it. You know, I only had it for 4 years, so I'm learning to embrace that space. And it sounds very easy. It sounds like, oh, she's very strong. I am, because I'm choosing. I'm choosing to be strong. I'm choosing to not let this destroy me. And I do it for Emma. Emma is here. You know, she's going to be 11 in November. She misses her sister dearly. She talks about it. She cries at school for her. And everybody knows about her and on her end. So that keeps me going. You know what? She needs me. I need to set the tone of how we're going to do this. So it's in between Emma and Zoe, and that's how I live. I'm a grieving mother. I'm grieving, and I'm going to grieve for the rest of my life. But I also have something to look forward to, and it's her. So it's hard.
It's hard, but it's a choice that you're making.
That's how I see it. It's always a choice.
Well, we're going to be faced with so many things, and the choices that you're making not only inspire your daughter, they inspire everybody around you. And you know, I know that you know a little bit that you do. You inspire many people, not just here around you, but like in the States and like all over the world. When you're writing your blog, like there's people that needed to hear that. So when you're being urged, say by God, to write it, and you're being obedient in writing, there's so many people that needed to read that and see that. Even watching you go through it as you're sharing, and need to hear today that, yes, that you're in this space, but that you're choosing to go forward and chasing joy.
Yeah. That's how I see it. It all comes to a choice and work. Do your work. Do the things that speak to your heart. I have my own rituals. I call them the rituals. I have my little things where I find comfort. I find like running has helped me to, you know, I like running because I feel like it's an outlet, like a healthy outlet.
You've also run marathons, correct?
And I've been training for, you know, a couple races, and I have my medal like collection, and I love that. Like I said, the way that I train for a race is the way that I'm training for life. So it's exactly, I'm doing the same for grief. I want to heal my heart, so I need to do the work. And that's how I see it. I respect how everybody grieves differently, but for me, it's been like, no, get up. Yes, feel miserable, it's fine, cry, have those moments, but get up and keep going. It's just like,
some people think when they go through things that it's not okay to cry, or that people will be like, oh, why are you so upset? Like, it's okay to always show emotion, always grieve, and you don't just stop grieving one day.
You know, that's another topic that I had with the moms from my grieving group is, you know, like if we base our grief on how people are gonna react, we're just gonna be miserable. You know, people are gonna talk whether, why are you not crying, or why are you crying so much?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I'm like, I don't base my grief on what people think. I'm doing what it works for me. You know, and I have those days where I don't want to get out of bed. I'm miserable. I'm seriously cry until my stomach is super sick. And then I have those days that I don't cry at all, that I'm good for the whole day. And of course, I think about Zoe constantly. It doesn't go away. We have pictures of her all over our house. When people ask me how many children you have, I said the truth, 2. I have 2.
You do?
One is in heaven and one is here. And I see the reaction on people. Sometimes they're like, oh, I shouldn't ask. Or, you know, like they feel, and that's okay. And I tell them, that's fine. I had a conversation with one of my coworkers yesterday, a young girl, and she started crying just because she asked me that question. She asked me, do you have children? And I kind of smile. I'm like, I always say this gracefully because I'm gonna say it regardless, but I just don't want to throw people off because it's not their fault.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not expecting people to understand how it is to lose your child. There's some parents that are very, very bitter because they said it's just people are not sympathetic, or they don't. Is that their fault?
Some people don't know, they've never experienced loss, so they just don't even grasp.
They don't have to understand, Michelle, and I hope that nobody else that in my circle understands that, like, at all. I don't want that. So I don't take it on people. I'm not angry at anybody. And that was another part of my healing, just for forgiveness. And I knew that God was like telling me, forgive everything. Because you can be mad at the doctors, you can be mad at him, you can be mad at anybody. And I had those moments of anger and confusion, but it was like immediately like a snap out of this, because this is not going to help.
No, living in that is just torture.
It is. And no, it doesn't matter how angry I am, I'm not going to bring her back. And that was something that I have to understand right away. So, like, yes, I can lock myself in a bedroom forever, and still, she's not coming back. So, how am I going to do this? that's my question. I don't know. I did that. So.
I wanted to ask one last thing. If there's somebody who just lost their child, what is something that you could say to them today, looking back, that you're 3 years in, what would you say to them if they just found out or something just happened that could encourage them or?
Well, it's hard to give advice, because I feel like you really need to go through it. You really need to feel it. Grieve, because only when you grieve is when you're free to feel everything else. And then your heart will be telling you slowly what is exactly what you need in order to find light again. It's amazing. You'll know what you need, and hold on to your family. It's hard in the marriage. It's very, very hard. It puts a lot of stress. I mean, a stress that you don't even want to look at each other in the eye. It's hard because it's very painful to see a person that you love going through this. But if you can hold on to that a little tighter, it's going to help. And you'll get through it a little smoother than if you decide just to try to just on your own, I feel like do what speaks to you, do what speaks to your heart. Don't be afraid to say whatever you want to say. And the people that are meant to stay in your journey will accept you the way that you are. You're not crazy. You're just going through the greatest loss there is out there. And I feel I have losses in my life, a lot of them, but never one like this before. So that's what I feel comfortable to say, this is the greatest loss there is. And it's out of order. It's unnatural, because you think my child is gonna bury me. And when it's the other way around, I read once, it's like only when you lose a child, you know that you're afraid of leaving. You're no longer afraid of death. Death doesn't scare you because death becomes going home. And now you're afraid of opening your eyes every morning and still feeling like this. But that would be my only, I guess, advice, if there's any, because we try not to give advice to each other. We just try be supportive and let it feel it.
It's important to say though, just feel it, grieve.
Grieve.
And that's important. I believe with my whole heart that there's going to be people that watch this episode and that you're going to touch their hearts and that you're going to help them know that it's okay to grieve because some people just feel like they're not allowed to or can't. And I pray that it empowers them to grieve. And thank you for inspiring and helping so many people and sharing your story, because it makes a difference and people need to hear it. They need to hear your story because you are helping lots of people.
Thank you for reaching out. I was very touched by your phone call, so and I started praying for everybody out there who is gonna watch this. Hopefully, you take something and you can apply that in your grief, wherever you are, whatever stage you are. And thank you for making the time to come all the way here to do this. Thank you.
It's funny, even when I asked that, when I was, even though I know that you've been sharing everything, there's a part of me that was scared to ask you. Because it's sharing something that's still painful. There was that part of me that was like, and it took me an extra month to call you. Even though I already had you written down as that's who I wanted for this. If you would have said no, I would have totally respected it. But there's that part of me that I was just like, that's somebody sharing their soul, their heart.
No, I'm very touched by that. Thank you, and I don't mind sharing. I want to share. I want to spread the word. Like, you know what? We are grieving mothers, and it's the most terrible thing. But there's light. There is pieces of joy that you can grab onto it, and God is always there. And I do believe that God still loves me. You know, it's hard. You know, it's hard to read posts on Facebook and see people that say, "Oh, I'm so blessed. God is really good." It's taken me a long to really feel like that, because you don't feel blessed. You don't. Or it's not like you don't feel blessed, but you feel like you don't deserve to be blessed. You don't get that. You know, I don't know. It's very confusing, but that's why you need your faith. Grab onto it. Pray for it. Because if you allow those thoughts, just negative and the confusion to take over, I'll be down really low. So that's the only thing I believe.
You know, what a blessing it was today, being able to come and sit and chat with Gaby and really just hear her heart and hear her speak. And I just pray that it helped you today to learn that if you ever run into somebody who has gone through loss, you know, loss touches a lot of us. I don't even think we realize, but loss of a child, as she was saying, is just something even different. And to be here and see all these people get together and celebrate Zoe and have a candlelight, you know, light, and just everybody say her name at the count of 3 is just touching. Everybody coming together and supporting her and keeping Zoe's memory alive, because she was an important part to so many people, and that was a blessing to be a part of it. If you know anybody that is going through any kind of loss, suffering, and they just maybe don't know what to do, you know, I just pray that you share this with them, or you just be there for them. Give them a hug, reach out to them, and tell them that you're there. Tell them that you love them. Send them a message. There's so many little things you can do that Gaby said that helped her, and I know helped me when I was going through a struggle. Just reach out and be there for them. Don't be silent. Reach out when you know someone's hurting, whether it's a text, a phone call, whatever is easiest for you, but reach out. Don't be quiet, because they need you. Until next week, where my prayer and my passion is that I can help you find strength in your storm.
I love you, Zoe. Love you, Zoe.
that I still miss you and I think about you and I pray for you and I love you, Zoe, okay? You're always in my mind and my heart and we miss you.
Zoe, I think about you every single day and I love you so much and I love you.
I love you, Zoe.
Zoe, Mimi loves you. Zoe, Lulu loves you too. We love you.
I love you, Zoe. I love you, Zoe, with all of my heart, and you're gonna be in my heart forever.
Zoe, we miss you with all our hearts. I know you're in heaven and you watch over us every day. And we pray for you every day. And daycare just wasn't the same without you. Your friends all missed you and will continue to miss you always.